Imagine you're a soldier, volunteering your life to protect your nation and the people that inhabit it. Then once you come back from war, you don't get nearly the amount of support you need from the government or society. This has been a big problem within our country for many years. This brief documentary is going to break down this issue to show the viewer that this is a big concern within this nation. In this documentary, we will be talking about many things that come into play when it comes to veterans. We will first start off with statistics to paint a better picture for the viewer of how big of an issue this is. Then we will find ourselves going over why veterans are often found in situations where they need care. This will then lead us to talk about the efforts the government is making to support veterans. After this, we will have an interview with a veteran who's experienced with this type of thing. Then we will show some church teachings on the subject. And finally, we will show ways you can help veterans and some organizations that help veterans as it is. Here's some statistics that show this is a worthy concern within our country. 70% of veteran homeless have substance abuse problems. Also, 33% of homeless males are veterans. Around 592,000 and 840,000 veterans are homeless at some point in the year. Veterans make up 11% of the population, but veterans make up 26% of the homeless population. About 1.4 million other veterans, meanwhile, are considered at risk of homelessness due to poverty, lack of support networks, and dismal living conditions in overcrowded or substandard housing. On any given night, 300,000 homeless veterans can be found on the streets. These statistics show that there is truly concern when it comes to veterans, since many of them are in poverty. The reason why this is so common within veterans is because many develop disabilities, both mentally and physically, while fighting in the war. These veterans, while having these problems, then have nobody to turn to because of their financial state or just the way these problems affect them. The other big reason is because of financial issues. Since they come back, they have no source of income and it's hard to get money to support themselves. The government also doesn't give enough help to these veterans going through hard times. This is a vicious cycle that puts these veterans in a state of poverty or a lack of care. Now we will go over the government's attempts to fix this problem. The government has been passing more laws and more bills to support the veterans in recent years. Though this is the case, it is still not enough, with many veterans still being homeless and having these problems. The veterans just need more that the government and much of society simply do not have. Some of these bills passed have been the Veterans Benefits of 2011, Veterans Compensation Cost of Living Adjustment Act of 2012, and Improving Transparency of Education Opportunities for Veterans Act of 2012. Next, we will have an interview that will help us understand the difficulties of veterans and how it is hard for them to get support in the nation after they come back from war. Say your name?
Yes, Kenneth Hayes Pierce.
Alright, and what war you served in?
Vietnam.
Did you get support from society when coming back from the war?
Not in the least.
Yeah. How did that make you feel like when you came home?
When you're 18 going on 19, it's kind of hard to explain because you're still too young to really have many feelings about that.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think the government cares for veterans enough, like, as it is right now?
They're trying, but no, I do not.
Like, why?
They basically spend a lot of money, pay a lot of lip service, and the services that they say they want to provide, for the most part, don't seem to be forthcoming.
Yeah, good point. Did you get any support from the government once you came back from the war?
No, none from the government when I first got back.
Okay. Have you helped fellow veterans?
Yes.
If so, can you please tell a story?
Yes, I'll try to be brief. On one of the trips, I met a second lieutenant that was in the Army that was having a lot of problems emotionally, and his wife wanted me to go back to Vietnam with him, and which we did, which I'm hoping that experience of going back after the war and seeing the country the way it is now made some kind of a difference in his mental state.
Thank you. That's a very good story. Uh, what were your family's emotions or thoughts when coming back from the war?
Uh, it's hard to say because I was wounded in Vietnam, so they got the traditional telegram saying that your son has been wounded in action, etc., but they didn't give any details, so obviously they were somewhat upset.
Definitely. Do you think the support the veterans get now is better than the support there was in the past?
Yes, much better. I didn't feel too bad about things until I was in Canada at a conference, and the Canadians asked how I felt about my return from Vietnam, and I said I didn't feel too bad about it until they had a 3-day war in Iraq, and they gave them a ticker tape parade down Wall Street in New York City. So, big difference.
Yeah, definitely. Have you had trouble with the support as a veteran when you came back from the war?
In what way?
Like from society, like how like they perceived you as, you know.
Yes, yeah, I'd say so. I think a lot of the older ones now are feeling guilt in trying to make up for it. After a while, you get tired of hearing them say thank you for your service, because it's a little late for saying that after how many years, you know.
Yeah.
So it just drives the nail home that, you know, where were you when we needed you?
Yeah.
Now, you being a veteran, do you appreciate it when people come up to you and say thank you for your service or thank you for serving?
It depends on the person and how they state it. Some of them, you know, I think are just saying it to say it, not very sincere about it. And some of them are the opposite. So I think the ones that kind of mean the most are the younger people who kind of, I think, believe what they're saying, and of course didn't go through the crap in Vietnam about the protesting and the things that were going on over there then.
Now we will move on to the church's teachings on the matter. In passage 2428, it specifically states, "In work, the person exercises and fulfills in part the potential inscribed in his nature. The primordial value of labor stems from man himself, its author and its beneficiary. Work is for man, not man for work." Pope John Paul II on human work. Everyone should be able to draw from work the means of providing his life and that of his family, and serving the human community. And it also states in 2433, "Access to employment and to professions must be open to all without unjust discrimination. Men and women, healthy and disabled, native and immigrants." Pope John Paul II on human work. For its part, society should, according to circumstances, help citizens find work and employment. Though these passages don't reference veterans specifically, they are quite relevant to the topic at hand. These passages talk about how every worker's life should be provided for. This relates to veterans because they've worked hard for this country, and oftentimes they are found with a lack of care, with problems such as financial issues, physical problems, and mental problems. Not only to mention that these citizens are some of the most important, protecting our country from outsider threats. How can we help? Though this is still a very big issue, we can still help. There are many organizations that help with this issue. These organizations help veterans with financial issues, mental disabilities, and physical disabilities. Some of these organizations include Volunteers of America, which help veterans struck with poverty, Wounded Warrior Project, which helped disabled veterans, and Homes for Our Troops, which helps veterans get safe housing. Overall, this is a huge issue that has been plaguing our country for years. We hate to see such a constructive member of society go unnoticed and uncared for. Hopefully, we may be able to solve this problem one step at a time. Thank you for watching this brief documentary about the lack of care veterans get. We hope that it was informative and enjoyable. Don't forget to support your veterans and all that they've done for us. Thank you.